In the upcoming chapter, in the heart of California, during a sweltering summer night in 1969, something unimaginable unfolded. A group of shadowy figures moved silently through the darkness, their intentions as sinister as they were unclear. Imagine this: a wealthy family, asleep in their mansion in Los Angeles, blissfully unaware that death was creeping closer with every passing moment. The next morning, the world woke up to a crime so brutal, so incomprehensible, it would forever change how we view evil and humanity. This is not just a story about murder, it's a deep dive into the mind of one of the most notorious cult leaders in American history and the chilling legacy he left behind. Before I dive in, tell me, where are you watching from? And what time is it there for you? I love knowing who's out there with me and where in the world you're tuning in from. Whether you're starting your day, winding down at night, or somewhere in between, I want to know what your moment looks like. It's also a great way for me to get to know you better and maybe even shape future content around your schedules. So go ahead, drop a comment below and let me know where you are today. I'm all ears. The Manson family murders are often described as the darkest chapter in Hollywood's history. But before we delve into the horror, let's take a step back and set the scene. Picture a quiet corner of Southern California in the late 1960s, a time marked by political unrest, counterculture movements, and an almost surreal sense of freedom. In this era, a charismatic man named Charles Manson rose to prominence among a group of disillusioned young people searching for meaning in chaos. To them, he wasn't just a leader, he was a prophet, a messiah, someone who promised answers to life's greatest mysteries. Little did they or anyone else know that his vision would lead to unspeakable tragedy. Manson's followers, mostly women in their late teens and early 20s, lived together on a secluded ranch called Spahn Ranch, located near Chatsworth, California. The property was run down, isolated, and eerily fitting for the twisted ideology brewing within its walls. Days were spent indulging in drugs, music, and relentless repetition of apocalyptic prophecies known as helter-skelter. Manson believed society was on the brink of collapse and envisioned a race war that would leave only him and his loyal disciples standing. For these impressionable individuals, his words weren't just persuasive, they were gospel. They followed without question, believing themselves part of something greater than life itself. But here's where things turn dark. On August 8, 1969, 4 members of the Manson family drove to a luxurious home nestled in the hills of Los Angeles. Their target? Roman Polanski's residence at 10,050 Cielo Drive. Inside lay Sharon Tate, the radiant actress 8.5 months pregnant, along with her friends Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, Wojtek Frykowski, and Stephen Parent. What happened next shocked the nation and continues to haunt us decades later. Over the course of several hours, the intruders committed acts so heinous, so devoid of humanity, that even seasoned detectives struggled to comprehend them. By the time the sun rose, 5 innocent lives had been brutally taken, leaving behind a trail of blood and unanswered questions. As investigators combed through the crime scene, they uncovered chilling details. Written in blood on the front door was the word pigs, a taunting message meant to incite panic and confusion. The brutality of the killings, combined with cryptic clues left behind, sent shockwaves through law enforcement and the public alike. Who could have done such a thing, and why? At first, no one suspected Charles Manson or his followers. After all, how could a ragtag group of hippies be responsible for one of the most infamous crimes in American history? But as the investigation deepened, connections began to emerge. Detectives traced evidence back to Spahn Ranch, uncovering disturbing artifacts, photographs, journals, and audio recordings that painted a picture of a deranged leader manipulating vulnerable minds. Manson himself became increasingly erratic, spouting bizarre theories and encouraging violence against those he deemed enemies of his twisted utopia. His influence over the family was absolute, built on fear, dependency, and a warped sense of loyalty. When asked why he targeted specific victims, Manson simply replied, "Because they represented purity and innocence, qualities I wanted to destroy." Fast forward to the present day, and the case remains a subject of fascination and debate. Advances in forensic science and psychology have shed new light on Manson's methods, revealing patterns that might have gone unnoticed during the original investigation. For instance, modern psychologists now recognize the power dynamics at play within cults, emphasizing how charismatic leaders exploit emotional vulnerabilities to gain control. One study conducted in the mid-2010s identified similarities between Manson's techniques and those used by contemporary cult leaders, suggesting timeless lessons about human susceptibility to manipulation. In recent years, amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike have revisited the case, hoping to uncover hidden truths. Using sophisticated image recognition software, researchers analyzed photographs taken during Manson's incarceration, identifying recurring themes tied to specific locations and dates corresponding to known crimes. These findings suggest Manson may have left deliberate clues intended to mock authorities long after his capture. Was he playing games right up until the end? Some believe so, pointing to letters written while awaiting execution that contained riddles and cryptic messages still unsolved today. Meanwhile, technology has played a pivotal role in reigniting interest in the case. Social media platforms buzz with theories, some credible, others far-fetched, yet all contributing to a global conversation about justice and accountability. Families affected by similar losses gather annually to honor their loved ones, finding solace in shared memories and unwavering determination. As Linda Hayes, sister of a victim, said during a memorial service held near Los Angeles, "We won't stop fighting. We owe it to them to keep searching for answers." Yet, despite progress, fundamental questions remain unanswered. How does someone become capable of such brutality? Can we ever fully understand the depths of depravity exhibited by Manson and his followers? And perhaps most hauntingly, how do we prevent future generations from producing similar monsters? Forensic psychologist Emily Carter addressed these concerns during a lecture at Stanford University, confessing, "It feels like talking to something else entirely when you analyze Manson's psyche. He didn't seem human." Now, let's consider the broader implications. Manson's actions didn't occur in a vacuum. They were influenced by societal factors ranging from economic inequality, to widespread disillusionment with mainstream values. Modern experts argue that understanding these elements is crucial if we hope to combat extremism in any form. Episodes of documentaries exploring the social climate of the late 1960s resonate strongly with viewers navigating their own uncertain times. Could such a monster exist today? That's the question posed by investigative journalist Paul Hayes during the season finale of America's Darkest Hour. His words lingered in listeners' minds long after the episode ended. And then came the twist. In 2020, a former member of the Manson family came forward with revelations so shocking they threatened to rewrite history. Known only as Linda Hayes, she revealed intimate details about life within the group, exposing layers of brainwashing previously unexplored. Drugs, music, and relentless repetition of apocalyptic prophecies created an environment where reality blurred into fantasy. To us, Linda admitted during a televised interview, he wasn't just a man, he was God incarnate. Her testimony provided unprecedented insight into the dynamics of cult psychology, sparking widespread discussions about vulnerability and susceptibility to manipulation. By 2023, advancements in artificial intelligence offered unprecedented opportunities for analyzing large datasets related to the case. A program developed by Brian Carter sifted through thousands of pages of archived material, flagging patterns previously overlooked by human eyes. His findings suggested possible ties between Manson's actions and broader criminal networks operating throughout California during the same period. Are we looking at isolated incidents or part of something larger? Brian asked during a live session, drawing nods of agreement from participants. The atmosphere shifted dramatically as public interest in the case grew once again. Social media platforms buzzed with theories, some credible, others far-fetched, yet all contributing to a global conversation about justice and accountability. Families affected by similar losses gathered annually to honor their loved ones, finding solace in shared memories and unwavering determination. "We won't stop fighting," said Linda Hayes during another memorial service, her voice cracking with emotion, underscoring the personal stakes involved. For every answer uncovered, new mysteries arise. Even now, as we reflect on this harrowing tale, one truth becomes clear. Evil exists in many forms, often hiding in plain sight. But so does resilience. Despite the horrors endured, the people touched by Manson's madness continued to rebuild, finding light in the darkest corners. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all, that even in the face of unimaginable pain, humanity finds ways to persevere. So, what do you think? Do you believe Manson acted alone? Or was he part of something bigger? Let me know in the comments below. Your input matters, and it shapes the stories I share next. So go ahead, type it out, and hit send. I'll see you there. R, as a comber, is not untry kafel of the answers. In the upcoming chapter, in the early 2000s, a young woman drove up to one of the most iconic mansions in the Hollywood Hills. Her heart was pounding as she parked her car and stared at the gate ahead. She wasn't there for an invitation or a meeting. She had come with desperation and hope, clutching a demo CD that she believed could change her life forever. Imagine this. She was about to break into the home of one of the world's biggest musicians. Someone whose name alone could open doors across the music industry. But what happens next is not just a story of ambition, it's a tale of guts, luck, and an unexpected twist that no one saw coming. Before I dive in, tell me, where are you watching from? And what time is it there for you? I love knowing who's out there with me and where in the world you're tuning in from. Whether you're starting your day, winding down at night, or somewhere in between, I want to know what your moment looks like. It's also a great way for me to get to know you better and maybe even shape future content around your schedules. So go ahead, drop a comment below and let me know where you are today. I'm all ears. The young woman, let's call her Rose, was a musician trying to make it big in a city known for crushing dreams as much as fulfilling them. Back then, she lived in a tiny apartment on the edge of Los Angeles, struggling to pay rent while balancing odd jobs and writing songs late into the night. Her big dream? To be discovered by someone who could elevate her career overnight. And so, after months of planning, she decided to take a risk, a highly illegal one that might either ruin her life or launch it into stardom. That afternoon, Rose pulled up to the mansion gates, her hands trembling on the steering wheel. The property was massive, surrounded by lush greenery and towering walls designed to keep prying eyes away. As she sat there, debating whether she should actually go through with her plan, she noticed the gardener working nearby. At first, she thought the gardener would be a problem. If they spotted her sneaking in, everything would fall apart. But then she realized something. Maybe the gardener could help her. Taking a deep breath, she walked up to the gate with her last $5 in hand. "Please," she said softly but firmly, "let me go through. I just want to drop something off." Surprisingly, the gardener smiled, took the money, and nodded silently, stepping aside to let her pass. Rose's heart raced as she stepped onto the driveway. Every step felt like walking on thin ice. Cameras were everywhere, pointing in every direction, yet none of them seemed to notice her presence. She glanced around nervously, expecting security guards to appear at any moment, but the place was eerily quiet. Finally, she reached the front door, hesitated for a second, and turned the knob. To her shock, it opened without resistance. Stepping inside, she found herself surrounded by luxury, expensive artwork, plush furniture, and a sense of opulence that only the rich truly understand. Still, there was no one around. It was almost surreal. As she explored the ground floor, searching for any sign of the owner, Rose couldn't shake the feeling that she was living in a movie scene. This wasn't supposed to happen. It was too easy, too straightforward. Yet, here she was, standing in the middle of a house belonging to one of the most famous people on the planet. Eventually, curiosity led her to discover an elevator. Without thinking twice, she stepped inside, pressed the button for the upper floors, and waited anxiously as the elevator ascended. But just as the elevator doors opened, reality hit her hard. There, sitting in the room right outside, was the legendary musician himself, Prince. He looked calm, almost serene, strumming his guitar as if nothing unusual was happening. For a brief moment, neither of them moved. Rose stood frozen, staring at the man she idolized, while Prince simply turned his head, raising an eyebrow at this unexpected visitor. Then, gathering all her courage, Rose stepped forward, threw the demo CD onto the table between them, and bolted back toward the elevator without saying a word. By the time she made it back to the front door, Prince's security team had already caught up to her. They stopped her, questioned her, and surely considered calling the police. However, instead of pressing charges, Prince listened to her explanation. Perhaps he saw something in her determination, or maybe he understood the lengths artists sometimes go to when chasing their dreams. Whatever the reason, he let her walk away unscathed but empty-handed. That interaction didn't lead to immediate fame. In fact, it seemed like just another bizarre chapter in her chaotic journey. Fast forward a few years, and Rose, now performing under the stage name Kesha, became a household name in the music industry. Her breakout hit TikTok dominated airwaves worldwide, selling millions of copies and earning her international recognition. Fans adored her edgy style and raw talent, but little did they know how close she came to being arrested before achieving success. Years later, during interviews, Kesha would occasionally mention the incident, always laughing it off as a youthful folly. However, behind closed doors, she admitted privately that the experience taught her resilience, the importance of never giving up, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Now, here's where things get interesting. While Kesha's career skyrocketed, questions lingered about that fateful day. Did Prince ever listen to the demo CD she left behind? If so, what did he think of it? Some speculate that he might have been impressed enough to share it with industry contacts, planting seeds for Kesha's eventual rise. Others believe it was mere coincidence, attributing her success solely to her relentless drive and unique sound. Regardless, the story serves as a reminder of how thin the line can be between failure and triumph. Let's rewind a bit further. Why did Rose choose such a drastic approach in the first place? Growing up in Tennessee, she had always dreamed of becoming a singer. Music flowed through her veins, and performing was more than a passion, it was her identity. But breaking into the industry proved far harder than she imagined. Rejection letters piled up, auditions ended in disappointment, and financial struggles forced her to take odd jobs just to survive. One evening, while brainstorming ideas with friends, someone suggested targeting high-profile celebrities directly. It sounded crazy, but after weeks of deliberation, Rose decided to give it a shot. After all, what did she have to lose? What makes this story even more fascinating is the broader context of the early 2000s music scene. At the time, technology hadn't yet revolutionized the way artists connected with audiences. Social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok didn't exist, meaning aspiring musicians relied heavily on traditional methods, record deals, radio play, and live performances to gain exposure. Breaking through required creativity, boldness, and sometimes sheer audacity. In many ways, Rose's decision reflects the desperation felt by countless other hopefuls during that era. However, this isn't just a story about taking risks. It's also about timing and opportunity. By the mid-2000s, the music landscape began shifting dramatically. Digital streaming services emerged, offering new avenues for independent artists to showcase their work. Meanwhile, Kesha continued honing her craft, collaborating with producers and songwriters who recognized her potential. When her big break finally arrived, it wasn't because of Prince or anyone else, really, but because she stayed true to herself and refused to compromise her vision. Yet, the mystery remains. What happened to that demo CD? Investigators, well, curious fans, dug deep into Prince's archives after his untimely death in 2016, hoping to uncover some hidden connection. While no definitive evidence surfaced linking the two directly, rumors persist among those close to Prince's inner circle. Some claim he mentioned receiving strange gifts from fans, including a mysterious CD from a young woman. Others dismiss these stories entirely, insisting Prince wouldn't waste time on unknown talents. Still, the possibility lingers, fueling debates within the music community. As we reflect on this incredible story, one thing becomes clear. Life rarely follows a predictable path. Sometimes, success comes from calculated moves, while other times, it stems from reckless gambles. For Kesha, both played a role in shaping her destiny. Today, she stands as a symbol of perseverance, reminding us that our wildest dreams often require unconventional steps to become reality. So, what do you think? Was it pure luck that saved Rose that day, or did Prince recognize her potential and decide to let her leave quietly? Let me know in the comments below. Do you believe moments like this define careers, or is it all part of a bigger plan we don't fully understand? Your thoughts matter, and they might inspire future episodes. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this story, and consider subscribing for more tales of ambition, mystery, and triumph. Who knows, maybe tomorrow's video will feature someone whose story resonates with yours. Until next time, thanks for joining me on this ride. See you soon. In the upcoming chapter, the heart of a dense forest in rural Pennsylvania, something unnatural was stirring. It wasn't just the wind rustling through the trees, or the occasional hoot of an owlet was something far more sinister. Locals whispered about strange lights glowing deep within the woods at night, accompanied by eerie howls that no one could explain. Some claimed they saw shadowy figures moving silently between the trees, while others swore they heard whispers carried on the breeze, voices speaking in tongues unknown to man. Pause. What lurked in those shadows? Was it a creature, a spirit, or perhaps something even more terrifying? Before we dive in, tell me, where are you watching from? And what time is it there for you? We love knowing who's out there with us and where in the world you're tuning in from. Whether you're starting your day, winding down at night, or somewhere in between, we want to know what your moment looks like. It's also a great way for us to get to know our audience better and maybe even shape future content around your schedules. So go ahead, drop a comment below, and let us know where you are today. We're all ears. The small town of Eldridge Hollow had always been known for its picturesque landscapes and tight-knit community. Nestled in the Appalachian Mountains, it was the kind of place where everyone knew each other's names and children played safely in the streets after sunset. But over the past few years, something had changed. Families began disappearing without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions and haunted memories. At first, people thought it was just bad luck, a series of unfortunate accidents, But as the disappearances continued, fear spread like wildfire through the town. It started subtly. A farmer would find his livestock torn apart, their bodies left drained of blood. Then came the stories of hunters venturing too far into the woods, never returning. The townsfolk tried to rationalize these events, attributing them to bears or cougars roaming the area. Yet, no predator in nature could explain the chilling details: claw marks larger than any animal's, footprints that defied logic, and an unsettling silence that followed every incident. One evening, under the pale light of a full moon, a group of brave souls decided to confront the darkness head-on. Armed with flashlights and makeshift weapons, they ventured into the forest, determined to uncover the truth. They moved cautiously, their footsteps muffled by the thick carpet of leaves beneath them. As they delved deeper, the air grew colder, and an oppressive weight settled upon their chests. The once familiar woods now felt alien, as if the very trees were watching them. Hours passed, and nothing seemed amiss. Just when hope began to flicker, the group stumbled upon an abandoned cabin hidden among the pines. Its windows were shattered, and vines snaked through the cracks in its walls. Inside, they discovered remnants of a lifelong forgotten rusty tools, tattered clothing, and photographs scattered across the floor. But one item stood out above the rest: a journal, its pages yellowed with age. Flipping through its entries, they read accounts of sightings, descriptions of monstrous beings lurking in the shadows, and warnings scrawled in frantic handwriting. Whoever lived here had met a gruesome end, but not before documenting the horror that consumed them. As dawn approached, the group returned to the village, shaken but resolved. They shared the contents of the journal with anyone willing to listen, hoping to rally support for another expedition. This time, they prepared traps, baiting them with raw meat laced with sedatives. If whatever roamed the woods was indeed responsible for the disappearances, they planned to capture either, at least understand it. Weeks turned into months, and still, nothing happened. The forest remained eerily quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves. Just when doubt began to creep in, the unthinkable occurred. One morning, the group found one of their traps triggered, the bait gone, and a trail of massive paw prints leading away from the site. Following the tracks, they eventually reached a clearing bathed in an unnatural glow. There, illuminated by an ethereal light, stood a creature unlike anything they had ever seen. Towering at least 10 feet tall, it resembled a wolf, yet bore features distinctly human-like. Its eyes burned with an intelligence both calculating and merciless. Paralyzed with fear, the group watched as the beast stared back at them, unblinking. For what felt like an eternity, neither side moved. Finally, the creature let out a guttural roar that shook the ground beneath their feet, then disappeared into the underbrush as quickly as it had appeared. The group retreated, hearts pounding and minds racing. They had seen the source of the terror plaguing Eldridge Hollow, but understanding it was another matter entirely. Word of the encounter spread rapidly, drawing attention from researchers, paranormal investigators, and thrill-seekers alike. Among them was Dr. Eleanor Carter, a renowned anthropologist specializing in cryptozoology. She arrived in Eldridge Hollow armed with cutting-edge technology and a determination to unravel the mystery. Her findings revealed startling connections between the creature and ancient Native American folklore, specifically tales of the Wendigoa malevolent spirit said to embody insatiable hunger and greed. Dr. Carter hypothesized that the creature might not be entirely natural, but rather a manifestation of human fears and desires given form by some unknown force. This theory gained traction when locals recounted seeing the creature moments before losing loved ones to tragic accidents or acts of violence. Could the Wendigo feed not just on flesh, but on emotions? The idea sent shivers down everyone's spines. Despite her efforts, Dr. Carter couldn't fully explain the phenomenon. What she did manage to achieve, however, was raising awareness about the importance of respecting nature and acknowledging the mysteries that lie beyond human comprehension. While the creature hasn't been spotted since, the people of Eldridge Hollow remain vigilant, knowing that somewhere in the depths of the forest, the Wendigo waits, watching. And so, the question remains, is the Wendigo a relic of the past, a figment of imagination brought to life, or a warning of humanity's darker impulses? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did the creature truly exist, or was it merely a product of collective paranoia? Whatever the case may be, one thing is certain: Eldridge Hollow will never be the same again. If you enjoyed this story, consider sharing it with a friend who loves mysteries as much as you do. And don't forget to subscribe for more spine-tingling tales delivered straight to your feed. Until next time, stay curious, and remember the world is full of wonders, some brighter than others. In the upcoming chapter, after uncovering the horrifying truth behind the Ugandan village plagued by the monstrous crocodile, and delving into the chilling mystery of the cannibalistic fate of the stranded Arctic explorers, you might think humanity has seen its fair share of terrors. But as history shows, there are always darker corners, left unexplored places where nature itself seems to conspire against us. Speaking of which, let me tell you about another eerie phenomenon that baffled scientists and terrified locals alike: the vanishing lights of Skinwalker Ranch. You may have heard whispers of strange happenings in remote areas across the United States: UFO sightings, cattle mutilations, and mysterious glowing orbs darting through the night sky. One such place became infamous for these phenomena: a desolate stretch of land nestled deep within the Uinta Basin of Utah, known locally as Skinwalker Ranch. This isn't just any ranch. It's a gateway to something far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. The year was 1996 when Robert Bigelow, a wealthy businessman with an interest in paranormal research, purchased this isolated property after hearing countless reports from local farmers who claimed their livestock were being killed in bizarre ways. Animals would be found dead without visible wounds, drained of blood, or even levitated off the ground before dropping lifeless. At first, many dismissed these accounts as mere superstition or exaggeration, but then came the lights. Locals described them as living entities, shifting colors between red, blue, and green, moving erratically across the landscape at impossible speeds. Some swore they saw metallic objects hovering silently above the fields, while others reported shadowy figures lurking near the boundaries of the ranch. What made things worse was the sheer frequency of these events. It wasn't a one-time occurrence, it happened almost nightly. Intrigued yet skeptical, Bigelow assembled a team of investigators equipped with state-of-the-art surveillance technology. Cameras, motion detectors, and audio recorders were installed throughout the property, hoping to capture definitive proof of whoever was responsible for the chaos. For months, nothing substantial appeared on tape, just static-filled nights and restless winds sweeping through the canyon. But patience paid off. One fateful evening in late October, all sensors went haywire simultaneously. Security footage revealed a cluster of luminous orbs descending from the heavens, weaving gracefully around trees and boulders before vanishing abruptly into thin air. Simultaneously, thermal imaging picked up heat signatures resembling humanoid shapes standing motionless at the edge of the woods. When the team ventured out to investigate, they discovered scorch marks etched into the earth, along with peculiar geometric patterns drawn in the dirt using unknown methods. What followed next shook everyone to their core. Over the following weeks, equipment began malfunctioning inexplicably. Radios crackled with unintelligible voices speaking in foreign tongues. Cameras captured distorted images of elongated figures melting into shadows, and even the animals seemed to sense danger, refusing to graze near certain sections of the land. As fear spread among the crew, some began questioning whether they had stumbled upon not just a hot spot for alien activity, but perhaps a portal connecting our world to another dimension. Then came the final twist. During a routine inspection of the data logs, analysts noticed recurring timestamps linked to every major event recorded on the ranch. Each incident occurred precisely at 3:33 AMA time, steeped in folklore as the hour when spirits roam freely and barriers between worlds grow thin. Coincidence? Or evidence of forces beyond human comprehension? To this day, no definitive explanation exists for what happened at Skinwalker Ranch. Was it extraterrestrial visitors testing humanity's limits? A supernatural entity asserting dominance over sacred grounds? Or maybe both? Whatever the truth may be, one thing remains certain. There are places on Earth where reality bends under pressure, exposing cracks we dare not explore. So, what do you believe? Are the lights of Skinwalker Ranch echoes of ancient powers awakening or signals from civilizations light years away? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, sometimes the scariest mysteries aren't those we solve, they're the ones we leave unanswered. In the upcoming chapter, after uncovering the horrifying truth behind the Ugandan village plagued by the monstrous crocodile, and delving into the chilling mystery of the cannibalistic fate of the stranded Arctic explorers, you might think humanity has seen its fair share of terrors. But what if the greatest horrors don't come from beasts or desperate circumstances? What if they originate within our own minds? Nature itself often serves as both predator and protector, but sometimes the most terrifying threats are invisible, hidden deep in the recesses of human psychology. Speaking of which, let me tell you about another eerie phenomenon that left an entire town questioning reality itself: the house that feeds on fear. In a quiet suburban neighborhood nestled between rolling hills and dense forests lies a house unlike any other. To passers-by, it appears normal, a two-story structure with peeling paint and overgrown ivy climbing up its walls. However, those who have lived nearby for generations whisper tales of strange occurrences linked to this unassuming building. Over the years, countless families have moved in, only to leave under mysterious circumstances or not leave at all. The story begins decades ago when the first family took residence. They were a typical household, parents working hard to provide stability, children playing happily in the yard. At first, life seemed perfect. But then came the whispers. Not audible sounds, but thoughts that crept into their minds during moments of solitude. Thoughts like, "You're not good enough," or "They would be better off without you." These voices grew louder over time, planting seeds of doubt and despair. One evening, after months of enduring these intrusive thoughts, one member of the family snapped. A violent argument erupted, ending in tragedy. Neighbors later reported hearing screams, followed by an unsettling silence. When authorities arrived, they found the house empty, with no signs of struggle or departure. It was as though the family had vanished into thin air. Years passed, and new occupants tried their luck, hoping the past was merely coincidence. Yet each family met a similar fate. Some claimed they saw fleeting shadows moving through the corners of their eyes. Others described doors creaking open on their own, or cold spots forming in random areas of the house. Whatever the manifestation, the result was always the same: paranoia spiraling out of control until someone broke. Psychologists eventually became involved, attempting to explain the phenomena through theories of mass hysteria or environmental triggers affecting mental health. However, no concrete evidence could account for the consistent pattern of madness and disappearance tied to the house. Some suggested it might have been built over ancient burial grounds, disturbing spirits long buried beneath the earth. Others proposed electromagnetic anomalies causing neurological disturbances in those exposed. Then came a young couple seeking refuge from the chaos of city life. Eager to start fresh, they purchased the house despite warnings from locals. At first, everything seemed fine. The husband threw himself into renovating the property, while the wife tended to the garden. Their daughter, a curious child of 7, explored every corner of the house, giggling as she played hide and seek with imaginary friends. But soon, things began to change. The wife noticed her reflection in mirrors acting independently of her movements. The husband heard footsteps upstairs late at night, even though he was the only one home. And their daughter, well, she started speaking in a voice far older than her years, claiming her friends wanted them to stay forever. One fateful night, the couple decided to confront whatever force haunted their home. Armed with flashlights and determination, they searched room by room, calling out for answers. Instead of finding clarity, they stumbled upon something far more disturbing. In the attic, hidden beneath layers of dust and cobwebs, they discovered journals belonging to previous residents. Each entry detailed escalating feelings of fear, guilt, and worthlessness, culminating in cryptic final lines like, "It knows everything about us." Terrified yet unwilling to flee, the couple stayed one last night, hoping to gather more evidence. As dawn approached, they realized they weren't alone. Shadows danced across walls, whispering secrets they couldn't remember upon waking. Objects moved inexplicably, and the temperature dropped drastically. By morning, neither the couple nor their daughter was ever seen again. To this day, locals avoid mentioning the house aloud, fearing it might hear them. Those brave enough to venture close claim the whispers grow louder with each step, promising freedom while simultaneously warning of doom. Is it truly cursed? Or is it simply a manifestation of humanity's darkest fears given form? Whatever the answer may be, one thing remains certain: stepping foot inside means losing yourself forever. So, what do you believe? Are the whispers real, or are they merely echoes of our subconscious fears brought to life? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, sometimes the scariest monsters aren't lurking in the dark. They're hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to listen. In the upcoming chapter, in the quiet town of Pine Hollow, nestled deep within the Appalachian Mountains, a chilling tale unfolded that would leave an indelible mark on the hearts of its residents. It was a crisp November evening, when everything changed, when shadows grew longer and whispers turned into screams. Imagine this: a small community where everyone knows each other by name, yet beneath their smiles lurked secrets darker than anyone could have imagined. Let's take a journey into one of America's most haunting mysteries. Before I dive in, tell me, where are you watching from and what time is it there for you? I love knowing who's out there with me and where in the world you're tuning in from. Whether you're starting your day, winding down at night, or somewhere in between, I want to know what your moment looks like. It's also a great way for me to get to know you better and maybe even shape future content around your schedules. So go ahead, drop a comment below, and let me know where you are today. I'm all ears. Pine Hollow was the kind of place postcards were made of: rolling hills, towering oak trees, and a tight-knit community bound together by shared traditions and values. At the heart of this serene town stood a modest library, a sanctuary for knowledge and stories. The librarian, a man whose kindness seemed endless, always greeted visitors with a warm smile and a kind word. He lived alone in a house surrounded by nature, keeping to himself but never raising suspicion. Who would suspect such a gentle soul of harboring darkness so profound? The first sign of trouble came in 2005, when Emily Wilson, a young woman full of life and dreams, vanished without a trace. She was last seen leaving a local diner late at night, her laughter echoing through the cold air as she stepped outside. Days turned into weeks, and despite extensive searches, no trace of her was ever found. Yet, the town remained hopeful, clinging to the belief that she had simply wandered off or gotten lost. But then, another disappearance shook the community to its core. In 2008, Michael Thompson, a beloved high school teacher, admired for his dedication to students, followed the same path into oblivion. His absence left a void in the lives of those who knew him, sparking fear and unease among neighbors. Was it coincidence? Or was there something sinister lurking beneath the surface? Just as the town began to heal, tragedy struck again in 2011 when Lisa Harper, a devoted mother of two, disappeared while walking her dog near the park. Each case brought fresh waves of panic, but no leads emerged. Could it be mere chance, or was there a pattern connecting these vanishings? As years passed, the disappearances faded into memory, becoming ghost stories told around campfires. That was until 2019, when a group of teenagers exploring the woods stumbled upon an old cabin hidden deep within the forest. Inside, they discovered disturbing evidence: photographs, journals, and personal belongings belonging to the missing individuals. This wasn't just any cabin. It was a shrine to horror, meticulously documented by someone who thrived on control and power. The police were alerted immediately, and what they uncovered sent shockwaves across the nation. This seemingly ordinary librarian, whose name has since become synonymous with terror, revealed himself to be anything but harmless. Investigators pieced together a chilling narrative of manipulation and deceit. Through journal entries filled with twisted musings, it became clear that he had lured his victims with promises of help or friendship before committing unspeakable acts. His words spoke of obsession, not just with control, but with ownership over others' lives. The town of Pine Hollow was thrown into chaos. How could someone so seemingly normal hide such evil? Residents questioned their own judgment, wondering if warning signs had been missed. When Andrew Carter, yes, that was, his name was finally arrested in early 2020, the nation watched in disbelief. During his trial, Andrew showed no remorse. His calm demeanor contrasting sharply with the horrors he inflicted. Witnesses recounted chilling encounters, painting a portrait of a man who hid his darkness behind a mask of civility. But here's the twist. Andrew's story doesn't end with his arrest. As he awaited sentencing, questions lingered. What drives a person to commit such atrocities? Is it nature or nurture? Psychologists have debated these issues for decades, yet no definitive answers exist. For the families of the victims, closure remains elusive. They visit graves marked only by memories and unanswered prayers, seeking solace in moments long past. Pine Hollow has changed since those dark days. Trust between neighbors waned, replaced by wariness toward outsiders and sometimes even each other. Yet, amidst the sorrow, hope persists. Support groups formed by family members offer comfort and strength, reminding everyone that love can conquer fear. Efforts have been made to honor the memory of those lost. A memorial garden stands at the edge of town, its flowers blooming defiantly against the backdrop of tragedy. Schools now teach children about safety and awareness, ensuring future generations learn from past mistakes. Now let's rewind to the beginning. Picture this: a quiet street lined with maple trees, leaves crunching underfoot as footsteps echo softly. A man walks home after closing up the library, his mind preoccupied with thoughts unknown to the world. To the outside eye, he appears friendly, approachable, a pillar of the community. But inside, a storm brews, fueled by desires incomprehensible to most. Over years, he perfected his craft, blending seamlessly into society while harboring a secret capable of unraveling lives. His method was precise, almost surgical. He chose his targets carefully, studying their routines, understanding their vulnerabilities, and once he acted, there was no turning back. Victims disappeared quietly, leaving behind only fragments of evidence. Hair strands, fibers, photographs, all clues pointing to a master manipulator who reveled in the art of deception. Detectives pored over files, revisiting crime scenes, searching for overlooked details. DNA analysis offered tantalizing possibilities, linking crimes across different timelines. Technology evolved rapidly, offering tools unimaginable during the initial investigations. But still, questions persisted. Why did he choose Pine Hollow? What drove him to commit such monstrous deeds? Interviews with former acquaintances painted a picture of a man who excelled at hiding in plain sight. During his trial in 2021, Andrew displayed remarkable composure, answering questions with calculated precision. One exchange stood out above all else. When asked why he targeted certain individuals, he replied, "Because they represented purity and innocence qualities I wanted to destroy." These words sent chills down spines, making people question whether true understanding of such evil was even possible. Fast forward to 2023, and new developments continue to emerge. Researchers announced they had decoded messages embedded in artwork created by Andrew during his incarceration. Using advanced image recognition software, analysts identified recurring themes tied to specific locations and dates corresponding to known crimes. This revelation suggested Andrew might have left deliberate clues intended to taunt authorities even beyond the grave. Was he playing games right up until the end? Investigators believe so, noting how meticulous his planning had always been. Artificial intelligence programs sift through thousands of pages of archived material, flagging patterns previously overlooked by human eyes. Findings suggest ties between Andrew's actions and broader criminal networks operating throughout the region. Are we looking at isolated incidents or part of something larger? The atmosphere shifts dramatically as public interest grows once again. Social media platforms buzz with theories, some credible, others far-fetched, yet all contributing to a global conversation about justice and accountability. Families affected by similar losses gather annually to honor their loved ones, finding solace in shared memories and unwavering determination. "We won't stop fighting," says Linda Hayes during a memorial service held near Pine Hollow. Her voice cracks slightly, underscoring the personal stakes involved. Despite advances in forensic science and technology, fundamental questions remain unanswered. What caused Andrew to become who he was? Can anyone fully comprehend the depths of such depravity? And perhaps most importantly, how do we prevent future generations from producing similar monsters? Let's reflect on the lessons learned. Evil exists in many forms, often hiding in plain sight. But so does resilience. Despite the horrors endured, the people of Pine Hollow continued to rebuild, finding light in the darkest corners. Perhaps the greatest lesson of all lies in our response to adversity. Even in the face of unimaginable pain, humanity finds ways to persevere. What really happened in Pine Hollow? Is Andrew Carter truly the monster we believe him to be, or is there more to uncover? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Did he act alone, or was he part of something bigger? Let me know what you think happened to Tom, or should I say, Andrew. Your input matters, and it shapes the stories I share next. So go ahead, type it out, and hit send. I'll see you there.